Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Right now at 5, we're waiting this morning for the controversial whistleblower report on the president's call with Ukraine to be released after being released to lawmakers last night, as Democrats in the House move forward with their impeachment inquiry against the president.
From one whistleblower report to another, sources say this one is about the Kern County Fair and misuse of state funds. We'll tell you the allegations and what happened when we reached out to fair officials for their reaction.
The vaping epidemic grows as yet another person's hospitalized in Kern County, the latest on the CDC's investigation in cases around the country. Coming up, this is Thursday, September 26, 2019. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and today begins the cool down.
Yes, it's still going to be warm out there, of course, and we're rounding out the last couple days of the Kern County Fair. Let's check in with Kevin for a look at your forecast.
And we definitely did see the triple digits yesterday. We were thinking 100. We actually hit 101, not far from the record on that date of 103. And that was set back in 1975, but the cool down will start today. We are starting out a little warm. We're in the 70s right now, but we should start to see some cooler air approach out of the north, and that will keep our temperatures down this afternoon. Here's a look at the fair forecast. And by 3 o'clock, we'll be right near 93, 6 o'clock temperature holding, and then by 9 o'clock, clear skies, 81, and a north wind at 13. I do expect the winds to pick up a little bit this afternoon, so keep that in mind. Tehachapi, you're currently at 55. You have an east-northeast wind at 3 miles per hour. And as we take a look at the day and your temperatures, we'll be right near 68 by 9, 77 at 11, and then near 80 as we approach 3 o'clock. We'll talk more weather in just a little bit, but first, let's see how the morning commute's going for you. Let's send that over to Alex.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. Taking you outside for a first look at the 99 near White Lane, and as you can see, it's looking pretty good on that side of town. Everything else around the county also looking pretty good to start off your Thursday morning. We'll have another check of your commute coming up in about 15 minutes.
The White House and its allies continue to fight back against accusations of impeachable acts by President Trump during his interactions with the president of Ukraine.
The president himself calls it, quote, a hoax, but some Republican lawmakers aren't quite as dismissive. Chris Pallone is in Capitol Hill this morning with the latest.
Good morning, Alex and Maddie. A new NBC News count shows that a majority of the House of Representatives now favors some sort of action on impeachment of President Trump. Meanwhile, the president returns here to Washington today from New York amidst the questioning of a key figure in the whistleblower case.
Intelligence collection. And what authority?
Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire testifies before the House and Senate Intelligence Committees today. He arrives just hours after committee members finally read the whistleblower report, which ultimately spurred House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to launch an impeachment inquiry against President Trump.
I found the allegations deeply disturbing. I also found them very credible.
The whistleblower complaint reportedly stems from the president's dealings with the leader of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and a July phone call in which White House notes show Trump asked Zelensky to investigate his political rival, former Vice President Joe Biden, and Biden's son. The request came right after Zelensky said Ukraine intended to buy more American anti-tank missiles.
This is about our national security, the integrity of our foreign policy, and democratic elections.
The president and his allies scoff.
No push, no pressure, no nothing. It's all a hoax, folks. It's all a big hoax.
From my point of view, to impeach any president over a phone call like this would be insane.
But Republicans are not totally unified in support of the president.
I did read the transcript. It remains troubling in the extreme. It's deeply troubling.
Nobody push it.
Troubling, but is it impeachable? 6 committees in the House are conducting an inquiry to figure that out. Now, that full whistleblower report, which some members of Congress got to see yesterday, was actually declassified last night, meaning we expect the public to be able to see it today. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC 17 News.
And as Chris mentioned, the full whistleblower report was declassified last night, and we're expecting for it to be released sometime this morning. And when that happens, we'll post it on our website and push it out on our 17 News app. Right now, you can download our app so you can get the latest news alerts sent directly to your phone. And in less than an hour, when the acting director of national intelligence takes the stand on Capitol Hill, we'll stream that live on our KGT Facebook page. You can, of course, also watch it live right here on TV 17.
New information this morning about an investigation into how your tax dollars are spent. Last month, we told you about a state report saying county fair officials in one particular district mismanaged hundreds of thousands of your tax dollars. The audit says it was spent on lavish meals, booze, and illegal out-of-state trips. And that's not all. Now sources tell 17 News they are 100% certain this audit is in fact about the Kern County Fair. When we reached out to officials with the Kern County Fair, they had no comment. 17's Eitan Wallace has details.
The Kern County Fair is a staple of Kern. Funded significantly with your tax dollars, it's a place where families and people of all ages can enjoy all that the Golden Empire has to offer. But now, a report compiled by the state auditor says officials with one of the 54 fairs across the state has misused your tax dollars. And sources tell 17 News that unnamed fair mentioned in the report is in fact the Kern County Fair. The audit says, quote, the chief executive officer and the maintenance supervisor of one district agricultural association in charge of a fair allowed and often participated in the gross mismanagement of state resources. A mismanagement of state resources that includes the following: $132,584 of credit card purchases for which the association had no supporting receipts. $130,396 of individual credit card purchases exceeding $100 for which the CEO did not sign pre-approved purchase orders. More than $30,000 for excessive and illegal out-of-state travel expenses. $14,170 of credit card purchases for which the association did not have itemized receipts to verify they were for legitimate business-related expenses. More than $5,800 for airline tickets that employees purchased on their Cal cards, even though state policy prohibits the use of Cal cards for travel-related purchases. $5,188 for late fees and interest because the association did not pay its credit card bills on time. More than $1,900 of wasteful tips that far exceeded the maximum allowable reimbursement rate, and $1,259 for inappropriate purchases of alcohol. The audit goes on to say, quote, not only did the employees use their association credit cards to make illegal travel purchases, but when traveling, they also often used their association credit cards to pay for lavish meals that included alcohol and also included a $125 lobster meal, even though the maximum allowable travel reimbursement for dinner is $23. The audit also says, quote, overall, each of the entities or people who were responsible for overseeing the operation and management of the association failed in those duties, which allowed the association's gross management to continue unchecked for years. Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
We reached out to the CEO and the chair of the board of the Kern County Fair. Both directed us to the California Department of Food and Agriculture, but the CDFA would not comment further on the audit.
We're getting our first look at a man accused of killing a brother and sister earlier this week. Police say Morris Gilmet shot Luis and Carlos Abraham at an apartment on Union Avenue early Monday morning. Police also say Gilmet is the father of Luis's children. An officer responding to the call saw Gilmet speeding away from the scene and arrested him after he crashed at the Oswell Street off-ramp at Highway 178. Court documents we obtained say once he was in custody, Gilmet admitted to firing the gun. A judge postponed Gilmet's arraignment yesterday. He's due back in court on next Friday. A woman suspected of animal cruelty is due back in court this morning. You may remember video surfaced in January showing Elaine Rosa on an electric scooter while dragging a dog behind her. Court documents say the dog was hurt and Rosa took it to an urgent care hospital, but she lied about what happened over fear she would be denied service. Photos and video of the incident quickly went viral, with protesters calling for her to face criminal charges. 40 days later, the district attorney's office charged her with the felony count of animal cruelty. She's scheduled to appear before a judge again this morning.
Kern's vaping epidemic is growing. County public health officials confirm a second person was hospitalized with a vaping-related illness. The department won't release any further details about the patient. So far, 11 people nationwide have died from this mysterious illness associated with vaping. 2 of them lived here in California. State health departments in nearly every state tell NBC News they're actively investigating more than 1,000 cases of severe lung illnesses linked to vaping. That's higher than the Centers for Disease Control's official count of 530. It's still not clear exactly what's causing the illness.
Homelessness is an issue we continue to cover extensively here at KGET, and the city of Bakersfield agreed to provide funding for the Kern County Homeless Collaborative. Late last night, the City Council voted on a Memorandum of Understanding. It's also known as MOU. It calls for the city to give $155,000 per year to the collaborative until 2024. On Wednesday, the county voted to do the same. Right now, the collaborative is a loose network of local agencies, but the new funding will give the collaborative its own executive director, as well as 3 full-time staff members. The council also approved a contract for waste cleanup services and private security.
And still ahead this morning on Sunrise, a family in mourning after a 2-year-old boy was shot and killed by his father, who then turned the gun on himself. The message they say they got from Stephen Weir the day of the killings.
Plus, their sign supervisor David Couch may have some competition on Election Day. We'll explain who's thinking about running against him. Welcome back. A family tragedy. A 2-year-old boy from Merced County is dead, killed by his own father, who then turned the gun on himself. Days later, the family of Stephen Weir is still in shock. They spoke with Sarah Sandrick about an email they received on the day of his death, explaining his motivation for the crime.
So we took these pictures for his actual first birthday. We had a John Deere themed birthday.
Janet Bamford is holding on to precious memories of her grandson John. She spent all day Thursday with the 2-year-old and then said goodbye to him and her son Stephen at the home they all share in rural Merced County on Friday morning.
Normally he just blows kisses at me, but that morning my son said, "Hey, give Grandma a hug and kiss." And I said, "Okay," and I gave him a hug and kiss, and I said, "I see you on Wednesday." My son goes, "Wednesday?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to go to the park with my husband." And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, have a good day." And just like a normal morning, I didn't think anything about that.
But the next morning on the way home from Yosemite, she received a gut-wrenching email from her son.
It was titled "Farewell." And I read the contents and I started screaming, and my husband's like, "What? What?" And I'm like, "It's bad, it's bad." I just begged God, "Please no, please no." And I immediately replied to the email. I said, "Stephen, please no, don't do this. Whatever you're doing, don't do this," because I just knew it was bad.
Janet called her daughter and told her to contact the Merced County Sheriff's Office, which led to an Amber Alert. But the statewide search came to a tragic end after hunters found the wanted vehicle and both bodies near the family's favorite campground in Tuolumne County Sunday night.
I've never expected this from him. I never imagined this from him. He was such a good kid. He was kind-hearted and loved everybody. And
Stephen's parents say he became broken while going through a difficult divorce from his wife, Sarah. They describe him as a doting dad who feared he would not be allowed to see his son.
I do believe he did have an undiagnosed mental condition problem, and I think it was depression for sure. But I did not know or didn't even dream that dear, sweet son and would ever come to this.
The family is now offering heartfelt condolences to John's mother and everyone who loved this little boy.
Sarah, I'm so sorry. I know your heart is absolutely crushed. I know she loved her little boy too. I know she's missing an important part of her heart is just ripped out right now.
Stephen's mom says other family members got emails like the one she received, so she thinks they were sent automatically. She also added the family is not trying to make excuses for the crime Stephen committed.
It's 9:22 now. A heads up, if you traveled through LAX in the last week, you may have been exposed to measles. Los Angeles County Public Health says a person infected with the virus traveled on September 21st. Anyone who was in Terminal 5 that day may have been exposed. Health officials are encouraging people, especially those who are not vaccinated, to monitor themselves for symptoms, which include a fever, cough, red, watery eyes, and finally a rash. You're at risk of developing measles for up to 21 days after being exposed.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
The dream of home ownership is becoming harder and harder to turn into reality. An analysis of new data has found median-priced homes are unaffordable for average wage earners in 74% of U.S. housing markets. Adam Data Solutions released its third quarter 2019 U.S. home affordability report this morning. Median home prices in the third quarter of 2019 were not affordable for average wage earners in 371 of 498 U.S. counties analyzed in the report. Negotiations between General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union have reached the main bargaining table. The massive strike is in its second week. This is the latest development that the two sides are making progress on key issues and are getting closer to a tentative deal. This week, strikers for the first time became eligible for modest strike benefits of $250 a week. That will cost the union about $12.5 million a week. Analysts say the company is losing $2 million a day because of the strike.